Hello everybody, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com, back again with some big news updates. First of all, a major WWE superstar has sustained an injury and is set to miss a little bit of action, although maybe not quite as far as SummerSlam, but certainly a good couple of months. Also, we've got news on a surprise appearance at a recent NXT show in Oklahoma City, and finally, the other half of that WWE UK Championship Tournament bracket featuring one or two very surprising names indeed. Let's get on with it and let's take a look at all of the news. First of all, the news of that injured superstar. His name is Randy Orton in his veins, who apparently, according to WrestlingNews.co, went into surgery on Tuesday, or minor surgery I should specify. He's not expected to miss too much action, but certainly the next couple of months. One source apparently told Wrestling News that he would be back sometime in July, and he's certainly not apparently supposed to be missing SummerSlam. This would explain why we haven't seen Randy since Backlash, when he lost the United States Championship to Jeff Hardy. He's obviously not been on the European tour. Sam and Pacini went to the Newcastle House show last night, and while they had a wonderful boozy time, they didn't see any hint of the Viper either. So it looks like this story is true, and that Orton's going to take a little bit of time off the road just to rest and recuperate and heal from his surgery, his minor surgery. We should see him again pretty soon. In other news, at a recent NXT house show in Oklahoma City, we had a very surprising appearance from two members of the main roster. How exciting. Could this be the beginning of NXT as a two-way street where not only will guys eventually get called up to the main roster, but maybe flagging or struggling main roster guys could make a big appearance back in their old stomping ground of NXT? I've given you a bit of a clue there as to who it was, but I'll just walk you through the scenario before the big reveal. So the Undisputed Era took to the ring with their shiny NXT Tag Team Championships, and all were like bragging about how they're the dominant force in NXT. Nobody can touch them, nobody on the NXT roster, nobody on the Raw roster, nobody on the SmackDown roster, and as they mentioned the main rosters, the Revival's music hit, and Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder hit the ring and had a nice tag match against them. I didn't catch the result of that match. I suspect the Undisputed Era would have won, considering they're tag team champions, but I only saw a few reports on Twitter of the actual reveal itself. I think the story here isn't so much the match that happened, but the fact that the Revival, who, let's face it, haven't really caught on too well, or haven't been booked too strongly on the main roster, have managed to somehow garner a surprise return back into NXT. And I'm not suggesting this is permanent or full-time, but it certainly popped the live crowd, and it was exciting to see the Revival back in the environment that they really made their home over their stint in NXT. So yes, as I said, it'll be interesting to see whether Dawson and Wilder continue to show up on NXT house shows, or even make an appearance on NXT on the network itself. But regardless, what do you think? Do you think that superstars on the main roster should come down and have a little bit of, like a little stint in NXT if they're struggling on the main roster? Or do you think that should purely be the domain of up-and-coming talents who haven't yet made it to Raw and SmackDown? Let us know what you think in the comments section down below. And finally, the second half of the UK Championship Tournament announcements have been made today by WWE, and there's a few surprising names in there. Yesterday, of course, was the first half of the announcement, and we saw, like, Jack Gallagher was a surprising name considering that he is a regular member already of 205 Live. We saw another of these announced today, and his name is Drew Gulak, another regular member of 205 Live, but also not a member of the UK independent scene at all, more of an established US-based talent. I mean, we all knew, I guess, that you didn't have to be a UK citizen to participate in the UK Championship Tournament. Obviously, last year, Jordan Devlin appeared, and he is actually Irish. He also is going to appear this year. He was one of the names announced. Some returning names as well, in the form of Tucker and in the form of Tyson T-Bone, both of whom competed unsuccessfully last year. Another big name announced was that of Travis Banks. Obviously also not a UK citizen, but a New Zealander, but an integral part of the UK scene, the UK independent wrestling scene, and also the current Progress World Champion. So one of the bigger names on the UK independent scene, certainly, and one of the finest workers, in my opinion, as well. If you've never seen Travis Banks wrestle, then watch out for his appearances in the UK title tournament, because he pretty much is guaranteed to put on a good match pretty much every time he steps in the ring. So that's all the big names. One or two other names were announced as well. All the details are on Cultaholic.com if you want to check that out. That's all for now. Thank you very much for watching this news video. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Jack the Jobber. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic, and you can check out our Patreon as well if you want. Patreon.com/Cultaholic, and never ever forget, of course, to join us.